Okay. All right. So you believe? Do you believe in a God or what? What's going on?
I believe in God.
Which which God do you believe in?
Huh?
Which God?
So why exactly should I believe that God doesn't exist?
Well, that's not really how the prompt goes. So like, but the prompt says, "Why should I believe your God?" Because each person kind of believes in their own individual interpretation, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, each God's quite different from each other. So I was, that's why I was like, which one do you believe in? And then you can tell me. Hello? Where'd you go? Uh, you muted. Can you unmute? Oh, they left. I was like, it's funny too, because how's everybody doing? I'm trying this vertical thing we do, and wanted to do a debate or like do some of this TikToking, or as kid talk is what Kip Kip was calling it, kid talk, which I get why he calls it that. But so, and I had somebody, and then I went live, and then now they're not there. But there's always this weird like point where it's you're just waiting for people, which is like kind of the weirdest part about TikTok is that you got to sit here and wait for people to come um, in order to join. So if anybody, right, we're talking about God. If anybody wants to, you know, convince me that a God exists, or at least provide your reasoning as to why you believe in God, I'm here for it. I'm here to talk about it. So just let me know what you think. How y'all doing? What's going on? Who won today? We're just starting right off. This is kind of weird. Let me see here. Up the ember. Oh, cool. It like goes up at the side. That's neat. Woo! Debate time. That was a terrible impression of Ember. I don't, but that was what she said. Okay, was woo debate time, and it is. It is debate time. If somebody will come in to debate, but so cool. We got some people here. Um, but yeah, I'm on TikTok, y'all. If you wanna, if you wanna debate or whatever, we can hang out, whatever, until somebody wants to debate. When it is time to debate, I would ask that maybe we could, I can just talk to them, and then you can have the pieces that are left. You know what I mean? But let's see here. But yeah, if you want to hang out and everything, I'm just on TikTok, Punk Apostate. It is oh, here we go. Let somebody invite. Oh, invitation was sent. So I'm new at this. Okay, it's it's not my typical bag. Doing TikTok debates and everything. I kind of like this though, the vertical thing. That's kind of neat. Let me see. All right. Oh, there's a weird echo. Really? Is everybody getting the weird echo? Or is it for me? Am I doing a weird echo? Damn, that would suck. Let's see. Who else is here? Fortune Thought. How we doing? What's going on? They are mine though. Oh, the nachos. Oh, the nachos are you. Oh, hey, I'm not trying to take your nachos. Okay. I mean, as much as I do like nachos, I understand that they're yours, not Joe's. What they're mine, not it doesn't work. It doesn't work with the way I was trying to say it. It's I tried to flip it and it didn't work. It just word things are like that. They only work in one direction. No weird echo. Okay, thank you. How's it going? Deviant Outcast, how we doing, man? Doing all right? Said no weird echo, just saying. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. From the future. How you doing, dude? Doing all right? Said you won. I did win. I won everything. I don't know. Just waiting for people to come in to the thing. I don't know how long this takes. Like this is like I said, like new to me. So every so often I do. I usually get them pretty quick though. I feel like for the most part, the debaters, they're on the lookout. They're on the prowl. They want to do the debate thing. But you got to just sit here and gab about nothing until so it's kind of weird. Let's see. Okay, everybody's saying it sounds fine. Good. Oh, Ninibaba said, what were you saying? Sorry, I should have said I fixed it. Had to restart YouTube. Oh, it was you. Oh, okay. Weird. So your YouTube like did a weird echo thing and you had to reset to get rid of it? Okay. That's odd. And it's quite odd. But all right, what are we doing here? Let's see. So you do have awesome people in the chat. I know. I always got awesome people in the chat. I'm lucky like that. I know a lot of people aren't and don't have kick-ass viewers, but I do. So I'm excited about that. So let's see. Sounds like it is winning. You're right. That it is winning when you have awesome people in the chat. All right, TikToks. What are you doing? What is going on here? Where are the debaters at? How are other people able to like get so many like debaters to show up? I guess because they do it all the time. That's what it is. It's the how often you do it makes a difference, I guess. And because I never do it. Oh, here we go. Somebody's. Oh, did I do it? Did it work? No. I mean, it did. They like went because I'm broadcasting out on YouTube, so which is kind of my main. That's my main joint, if you will, as it were, if you will, per se. But I do TikToks for like I'll take like clips a lot of times from my live streams. But that's about Ass. How you doing, Ass? What's going on, dude? I'm the most awesome. What? How did you say? I'm the most awesome. I can't even. What? I am the most awesomerist. Awesome terrorist. That doesn't work. You put a T in there when you didn't need to. It was just awesomeness. Would have worked just fine. But all right, let's see here. I wonder if I could share my, because I love the way that a lot of the debaters or whatever, they'll like put up a screen, on their thing. I can't do it on TikTok because I'm not in the studio, but I could do it on YouTube because I am in that studio. So I wonder if I could if they're not going to be able to see it, like the debate people won't be able to see it, but like y'all will, right? If I so I'm just going to do a Google screen and see if I can just share that shit. And then if I need to look anything up, we can look it up and see what's going on, y'all. Now we're getting a couple people in here. What's up? We got Poke Stop P&W Poke Stop Sounds like you're shushing people as they say your name. Poke Stop shut. Don't you say my whole name. Was that the debatable Teddy? I have a massive UTI, upping my awesomeness by 1,000% or by 1,000 for each unit of in my UT. Just Jesus Christ. Okay. What the hell? Oh, that's awesome. What's up, Larry? How you doing, man? Hey, Dave. Doing all right? It's good to see you. Like I said, y'all, if you want to hang out until we can get some people in here to debate, I'm over on TikTok. You can join and we can talk and stuff until we get somebody that wants to scream and yell at each other, right? But like I said, when that happens, then I'll talk to them. Then I'll pass the ball over to you if you feel like it. If not, you can just hang out and listen. But just kind of waiting on. As I was, you want to yell? I get it. Do you have a pillow? Those are good for that. What's up? Hey, there's Gisela. How you doing, Gisela? Gisela's over on TikTok. Maybe more people watching on TikTok gonna help attract viewers. Yeah, hit the tap the screen. Thank you. Yeah, there we go. The more likes we get, we'll get more. I guess it puts it out more or something. but that way people can like hang out and we can actually talk. But oh, Ember joined too. Hey, if you wanna pop on, Ember, just hit the join button. We can talk for a minute. That's what's cool about this. Is like, and I guess maybe I'm late to the game. I don't know, but and Ember would know this. Can you do that on YouTube? Is there like a way to like talk and stuff to each other on YouTube now? Because they're like, oh shit, we gotta catch up with this kid talk thing. And they were like, we gotta be able to like interact with each other and stuff, kind of thing. I don't know. What is that? There's like a bunch of smiley faces with glasses coming up. There we go. You aren't here by accident. You want to come and talk, dude? Come and talk. We can hang out. I'm nice, I promise, at first. And then all of a sudden I strike like a maniac. No, I'm just kidding. I'm fine. And that, it's easy going. I just like to talk. As well as other things. I like all sorts of stuff. It's crazy the amount of things I like. Giselle's just like straight up tapping the screen. We've got 300. Is that all you, Giselle? That's incredible. She's just like tapping. You can just keep tapping the screen. Yeah, as I say, I want to be sedated. They have medications for that sort of thing. They do. Yep. But anyway, so I was thinking, it would be a great bet on like Family Guy or something. How how like the spray stuff that you put on to keep bugs off you is called off, right? And I was thinking it'd be really funny if like they were Peter was going to the store, right? And he was like, I gotta find some off. And shit. So his wife's like, just buy some at the store or whatever. They're in New York, right? And he's like, he goes into the store in New York to buy some off, and he's like, they actually don't have any off. They have some kind of New York off brand called Oof, and it's like spelled like UHOFF. Oof. Whatever. It was funny the way that was terrible delivery. That was the problem with that. But it could have been. I think that could be a pretty good bit. If they did the timing better. But what's up, y'all? You want to talk about God and stuff? What are you thinking? Where are we at here? What do y'all want to do? We can talk. I'm down to talk. I'm all about it. Let me see. Hold on. Let me get some comments here. What's all? Let me ask you this. We'll do this until we get a chat. What's y'all's favorite argument? And favorite, not by like, favorite argument for God, not like favorite in terms of like you think it's good, but like favorite in terms of like it's the funniest to like debunk. You know what I mean? Because it's just like so silly. You know what I mean? What's your favorite argument there? Let's see. Hold on. Debatable. Oh, we already did that. Well, that was loud. Jeez Louise. Because I'm using my phone. And so it's up next to the thing. Anybody can join. If y'all want to be invited, just, you can join. We can talk. Tell me about like why you believe in God. Let's do it. What are you doing here? Anytime. I totally forgot about this part. I think this is the part that keeps me from wanting. There we go. Okay. Invitation sent. It was like I started out and I had somebody right away, and then they ran away because they're like, "Oh no, I can't. It's that punk apostate. He's crazy. He's gonna make me look dumb," which is like just physically impossible. If you're talking to me, it's not gonna. I guarantee I'm gonna be the dumb one. Just saying. Wow, we got up to 920. Jesus Christ. Got a lot of likes. We're killing it in the like department. Okay, here we go. Oh, Ember. Yay. accept. Did it work? I don't know if it worked. Let me see. Save me, Ember. I'm drowning.
Okay, did it work?
There we go. How's it going, Ember?
Oh, adventures! I was trying to join from my computer because it's where my better audio and setup and things are, but apparently there isn't an option on computer.
Really? That's odd. Do you have to have? Oh, hold on. I have to push a button now. Do you have to push like a button? Oh, there's an accept. You have to like. Does it know that if you have your like audio equipment hooked up and stuff? Oh, there we got one. We got a chatter. We got a debater.
Hell yeah!
There we go.
All right, I'm gonna try one crazy thing on my computer, and it probably won't work, and then I'll be back.
Hey, let's do it.
All right.
I like it crazy. That's my favorite. Uh-oh. Crap. I lost my thing. Hold on one sec. What is it? It's like still loading. 1 sec. Hold on. Grab my thing. I'm right here. I haven't gone anywhere. I just had a thing. There we go. That's why it blends into the carpet. All right. All right. There we go. Why is it? It's just like sitting there loading. What is going on? It's me, isn't it? They don't. Oh, now everybody's gone. What did I do? I swear it's me. It's my fault. I'm not now. Truthful is straight. Wow, we've gotten over 1,000 likes now, yo. Thank you for liking the stream that nothing has happened on so much. It's like the most awkward part. Oh, there's Ember again. Okay. I will accept her. Let me see. Here we go. Oh.
Yeah, the computer thing didn't work.
Invite. Invite. There we go. Why is it not working? I'm trying to invite. I don't know why it's not coming up. It's like I'm so not used to this. That's the problem here.
Sadly, I can't help. I have the capability, but I've never actually done my own TikTok live, so I don't know anything about the studio controls end.
Right. I mean, that's why I just do my phone. Like I have a second microphone that's literally like, I wish I could show it. I don't know if I can. Let's see here if it'll work. No. Oh my God, I'm gonna break it. See, it's just dangling. Now this mic's in the way. It's just like, dang. See, there it is. See, I got it. It's like dangling. I got it like hanging from my other thing. And oh, there we go. Oh, and they're gone. What is the deal with them like beginning to be invited and then they leave? I don't understand that. How, like, what is that? Like they invite and they're like, never mind. I thought I wanted to be invited and then I don't. No, I don't. I changed my mind. Oh, there you go. Hey, Amber, I can see you now.
Maybe it times out after a minute. I don't know. But yeah, the
That's
dangly
possible.
mic thing. I did that with a boom mic for the film I made back in 2020.
Really?
I couldn't afford an actual boom mic, so I just stuck a microphone with the XLR plug like dangling from a boom.
Nice. There we go. Oh yeah. What's up, man? How you doing? Who is this? This is Bozo. Look here, Bozo.
You calling
How
me
you
a
doing?
clown? I guess that's my name, right?
Yeah, you can't really get mad about it, you know, if that's, you know.
I didn't want to use my real name. I'm new to TikTok. I didn't want to use my real name.
Oh, I don't blame
So
you at
I
all.
picked this stupid name out, and I can't change out of it for a couple of weeks, so I'm stuck with it.
Oh, does it like freezes it? It's like, no, you only get the one. You get the one name.
You only get the one name, and you can't change it for 2 weeks. I don't know.
Really? Okay. That's funny. Yeah, it reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but the one guy, Mac, he is always saying, oh, that's my new thing. That's my new. He's like, all right, hey, why don't you go get me a drink, Bozo? I'm calling people Bozo now. That's kind of my thing. And I don't know why it just cracks me. It's like, It's my thing. That's what I do now.
Classic.
And I'm also trying to develop since I am new to TikTok, these chat rooms are out of hand. There's nice people. There's some chats you go into and you feel like you're surrounded by a pack of hyenas.
Right.
If you don't say the right thing, it's just. So I'm trying to come up with a comedy shtick to counter all this heaviness that's out here.
Okay.
I feel you. That's all right. So, like, what do you think about God? Are you a believer? Or are you not? Or what do you think?
Well, I'm a believer, but I had about 3 years ago. I was on pretty much my deathbed. I was very sick with pancreatitis, which essentially, if you don't know what that is, you're unable to eat, and they put you on a feeding tube and a breathing machine, and so I was in ICU for about 100 days.
Jeez.
And I can't say that I had any near-death experiences, but I was pretty much teetering on between life and death in terms of whether or not I was going to make it. And so I believe that that our life here on Earth is a good 60, 70, 80 years, and there has got to be something beyond this. So yes, I have a belief in the afterlife.
Huh.
And I've watched testimony on people who've actually died and come back to life. So I kind of fall into that kind of loony category of believing in the supernatural and spiritual.
Okay.
Well, that's cool. But as it happens, I've also had an NDE, and it's weird because it's not like any experience I've ever heard anybody else describe, which tells me that it's probably a function of the brain. Like when we're in that state, our neurons malfunction, and it comes up with something.
Yeah.
There's I've watched quite a bit of this on YouTube. There seems to be in the testimonies, and you watch people, you don't know if they've been coached to say what they say, but I kind of take everyone's what the stories they tell. I kind of have to take them at face value, and there's seemingly a lot of similarities on what they experience. Now, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But I think that when you have faced a health challenge and you've been in the ICU and have been on the painkillers and all that stuff, you come back. You still come back out of it a changed person, in the realization that health is very precious. And I think when we're young and healthy, we sort of take that at we don't. I can't put words together this late afternoon. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
We take our health for granted.
Let me
take
ask.
It for granted.
I mean, let me ask you this. So, like, you don't think that could possibly be like wishful thinking, like, because you are possibly so close to the end that you're like, oh man, something has to be after this. I need this to keep going, because I don't want to. If it does end here, I'd like it to not end here. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm of the Christian faith, and when I was so sick, and I'm talking about the drugs combined with being intubed, being on a breathing machine, there was actually a real peace that I had about, I'm ready to move on. If this is it, if there's just, there was just an overwhelming sense of love and peace about moving on to the afterlife. So
What?
I don't know.
That one I agree with you on. Even though my experience was extremely different, that is a factor that I experienced as well. This overwhelming sense of peace, like everything's going to be okay. You don't need to be afraid, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I recently, a good friend of mine had, and talking about, the spirit realm or whatever. A friend of mine passed away, and his mother was named, her name was Dixie, and she had a great grandson. His name was Elliot. Anyway, she had passed a couple of weeks ago, late in the afternoon, and her 4-year-old great grandson had come by after she had passed. So he was, as a 4-year-old, you're there at the house. The funeral home had not picked her body up. And so he was there when the family was there kind of mourning. Anyway, 3 or 4 days later, his grandma had taken him to a cafe. And the sweet little lady walked up to Stephanie, his grandma, and Elliot. And she, how you make small talk with young kids. You say, "Hey, how you doing? You enjoy watching the trucks outside?" Making small talk with a 4-year-old. And she goes, "Hey, guess what? I've got a dog, and her name's Dixie," which was really bizarre. I mean, A, how many dogs are named Dixie? B, what are the odds that some little lady would walk up to this kid some 3 days after his great grandmother had passed away? So you always wonder,
On grandmas, I can tell you a couple interesting things as well. First, my great grandmother. When my mom was pregnant for me, she was near her end and she knew it. Like, I don't know what she died of because she was gone before I arrived even, but she was on her way out. So she made a little teddy bear for me, but she also made a crochet rabbit for my little brother who wouldn't be even conceived until months after I was born.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how could she possibly know?
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yeah. So,
your prompt, why should I believe your God exists? I just, when we don't, as we look into the night sky and we look at the universe and the stars and everything that's out there, I don't think here on Earth we have any definitive answers. I certainly don't. I have more questions than I have answers, but I definitely believe that there's, something beyond what we're seeing here on Earth. So
why?
That's just my 2 cents.
No, that's fair. But so why the Christian one then? I'm just curious about it. Like I look into a lot of different religious, different, I don't know what you call it, but and Christianity seems to be I don't know, it's all about blood and death and human sacrifice and blood magic and what, why that one? Just out of curiosity, is it just because the familiarity or what?
So it's very gory, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So hold on just a second. Okay. I'll need to run here in a minute. I think
That's short, I got another guest coming in.
There was a historical figure by the name of Jesus. He claims to have been the God in the flesh. There's evidence that he died on the cross and rose again after 3 days.
Is there?
There's evidence?
And it's by faith. Faith being that childlike faith that we have when we are very young, 2, 3, 4 years old, that we essentially believe without any concrete evidence.
Yeah.
And
That's
on that happy note, I need to run, but I may pop back in here shortly.
All right. Well, it's been nice chatting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll stay in the room and then I'll pop back in here in a while.
All right. Sounds good.
Enjoy your day.
Yeah. It is fun. That is wild to me, the child thing. I don't know why. The like, to me, I just feel like that sounds so manipulative. I mean, it just sounds like, hey, don't think about what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, don't think to be like a child, please. You know what I mean? Like, where it's like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, you're telling kids, telling them not to think. Like, be like a child and would you just believe everything I say like a child, man? Like, could you just, come on.
Sometimes it's literal. Like, I was on the Humanity Live last night with Matt and Tommy. Forgive me, guys, if I mess up your names. I'm awful with names. But we were watching Alan Parr, and in the middle of his video, he says, I'm going to screw up the quote because I'm bad with quotes too. I'm just bad at English generally. But he outright says on his apologist channel, you shouldn't let people peer pressure you into thinking. Just don't think. Just avoid it.
Into thinking.
What?
Wow. That's wow.
Now, to be fair, Alan Parr is one of the most credulous people out there. He believes the Shroud of Turin is 100% real, for one thing.
Oh my
he
God.
also is on record as saying that biblical slavery is a moral good and needs to be brought back.
Holy shit.
It's just wild.
Wow. That's crazy.
So, I mean, he takes his own advice at least and avoids thinking.
Right. Well, I mean, because here's the thing. Like, I was just thinking about this. Like, you notice how so many of the like, you know, when people want you to believe stuff, they always manage to get these people to believe the thing they're telling them. But part of them getting those people to believe the thing is like this weird, like, mental jujitsu where they're like, yeah, and anybody that gets you to like question stuff, they're the ones trying to control your mind, you know. And it's like, wait, how do you get it backwards like that? You know what I mean? But that's part of it, is like, no, anybody that tells you that what I'm saying isn't true, they're trying to control your brain. You know, it's like, holy shit.
It looks like it's backwards because that's exactly what they're doing. But that's the whole thing, is it's projection. When con people know they're doing something wrong, in order to avoid suspicion, they accuse their ideological opponents of doing the thing they themselves are doing. We see it all the time in politics, but it shows up a lot in religion.
Yep. Oh my God. It's like the whole thing. Anybody that tells you to question it, they're trying to control your brain. So what's going on? How you doing?
I'm good. How about you, man?
You believe in God?
I do.
Which first of all, are you 18? And
yeah,
you're
19.
You are 18. You sound older than 18. So
I'm 19.
19. What? Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You must drink milk. I feel like you're developing quick. So what's going on? How you doing, man?
I'm good, bro. How about you?
Pretty good. So which God do you believe in?
I believe in God our Father, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Cool. You added all of the extra things you got to say. I get it. Why? So why do you believe in that one?
Why do I believe? This is really personal experience I went through in my life.
Oh, okay.
Do you feel like people force you to believe in God?
Do I think
what?
what?
Feel like there's people out there who force you to believe in God?
No, I mean, kind of, because like I was homeschooled. And so in that regard, yeah, I had no other options, you know, so it's kind of like I was sort of a special case where, yeah, and my parents were very diligent about running around and, you know, putting up blockers anytime that I might see something that might make me go, hold on a sec, which, as you get older, you look back and go, oh, wait a sec. Why were they blocking all the information if it's so true? If it's true, then why do they gotta block all the other information? You know what I mean? Because then it's just like you're removing my choice, and it makes me think maybe it's not true.
So I'm assuming that you don't believe in God.
No, yeah, it's punk apostate. It's not the punk apostle. People keep getting that messed up. I don't know. They can't read the second half of the word. I don't know. But
no, I didn't even see your name. I just saw the punk, and then I saw like a little bit. I didn't see the rest of it.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'm just saying. They're like, this guy calls himself the punk apostle, and he's not even a Christian. I'm like, it doesn't say that. It's like, but no.
So, like, why don't you believe in God?
I don't find the claims convincing. The amount of, because I wanted to believe really, really bad. Like I really wanted it to be right when I was believing it. And so, but I also wanted what I believed to be actually true. And I wanted to be honest with myself. And so when I started checking on stuff, I was like, no, I'll prove it to you. I can prove it. And then every time I went to like prove something, it was like, oh, that's not true. And neither is this, and neither is that. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, wait a second. Maybe it's not true,
Of course. I definitely could understand that for sure. A lot of people say like, it's just not convincing enough and there's not enough evidence behind it and stuff. But I mean, that's just, it all just come back down to faith. Bro. It's just all about believing at the end of the day, regardless of if anybody think there's not enough evidence or if they do think there's enough evidence. My personal opinion is that it all just come back down to faith.
So, but why?
Why believe?
I mean, if you're like, oh, well, if there's not enough evidence, there's not enough this, that, and the other, you're like, but I got to just decide that it's true anyway. That's
I could decide it's not true though, because at one point in my life, I wouldn't really say I never haven't believed, but at one point in my life, it was like, yeah, God's there, but I wasn't really doing anything to say, okay, whatever. Like, I wasn't like no deep believer like I am now, I would say.
Okay. But I mean,
I believed he was real, but it was more like okay, God's here, like, all right, that's cool, but like, I'm gonna just live life how I want to. I made the choice, to make decisions and, go deeper in my belief and, go more into reading the Bible and stuff. But I'm not gonna go around telling people that, that you should believe God exists. Or if anybody asks me, why do I think God exists? I'm gonna just keep saying the same thing, personal opinion. Everyone always tell me there's no evidence or nothing, but what does that matter to me? It's just, that's their opinion. They don't think there's enough evidence, then that's cool. I mean, I can't really go deeper anything into that.
So, okay. Go ahead, Ever. I'll let you go.
It's interesting to me that it seems like the majority of people that, at least that I've encountered, it always comes down to personal experience, and that's fine. But here's the thing. Everybody in every other religion says the same thing too. And so for me, as an outsider, I've got a Christian saying I had a personal experience with Jesus, and I've got a Muslim saying I've got a personal experience with Muhammad, and I've got a Hindu saying I have a personal experience with Krishna. Who am I to believe?
Well, I can't really speak for anybody else. All I can really do is speak for myself. I can't even speak for other Christians. All I could do is speak for myself.
But what I'm getting at is that from an objective perspective, it seems like everybody's got exactly the same degree of certainty for the same reason. So even if I had a personal experience, right? Like Jesus appeared to me or Krishna appeared to me or whatever, why would I come to the conclusion that that's real and what somebody else experienced isn't? Like why should I believe that experience knowing that other people had identical experiences just as real to them as what I experienced? But of a contradictory claim.
Of course. But I mean, like you said, belief, it's a choice. I wasn't forced to believe. I wasn't told to believe. At the end of the day, it's a choice. If you have an encounter with Jesus and you don't believe that was an encounter with Jesus, then that's just your choice in not believing that. I mean, some people would be like, oh, well, then that was Jesus. That was this, like that was that. But I mean, I can't sit up here and tell you what it was if that's not what it is. I can't tell you what it is because I ain't Jesus. So it's like, it's just all come down to what you personally want to believe.
Do you believe
it's a choice at the end of the day?
Hold on, but do you believe anything else by choice? Is there anything else in reality that you're like, oh, I can just decide to think that, or just decide not to think that? Or are you convinced by like what the evidence is for literally everything else.
Other things, and I believe there's other things in the water that we haven't discovered yet. I believe that there's like different creatures in the ocean that we haven't discovered yet.
Sure.
Okay, but so you're just deciding to believe that there's a specific thing in the ocean?
Not really a specific thing, but I'm just saying it could be a bunch of different type of creatures.
But well, yeah, there could be. I mean, and there could be an infinite number of things that could exist or whatever. But why are you specifically jumping on one and going, "This one does exist. It's very specific, and I actually am gonna." You know what I mean? Like you're.
Why did I make the choice to decide to believe? Is what you're asking?
Yeah, because you don't do that with anything else. Even the other things that you're talking about, you're like, oh, well, yeah, there could be other things in the ocean, but you're just leaving it like ambiguous. You're like, there could be other stuff out there. But why are you deciding? You're saying specifically that you're deciding to believe something is true, and I'm just curious as to like that. I can't decide to believe stuff. Either I'm convinced something is true or it's not. I can't just decide that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying, and that definitely is true to a point. But just like I said, personal testimony, bro. Like I lived a whole life a certain way, and I could definitely tell you, like my life was jumbled. It was upside down. There's a lot of different things I was doing that I shouldn't have been doing, and people could say, "Oh, well, you don't need God to change that," and that could 100% be true. But like I said, with my belief system, bro, I believe that I was given peace and I was given, more understanding, more wisdom, and a lot of different things once I started, following God.
Because like I had the opposite situation. Like I did believe in God, and I was doing a bunch of stuff that I knew I wasn't supposed to be doing, or stuff that was harmful for me. And I couldn't stop until after I stopped believing in God. And then it allowed me to figure out like, oh, I can actually listen to doctors and psychologists and psychiatrists and stuff when they tell me how to actually stop doing the things. And my life actually improved exponentially when I stopped believing in God.
Right.
So what's like, why? That's odd, right? It's odd that you have one
like
direction.
I said, man, everybody got different personal things they went through. And I'm not here to tell you like, well, that's not true. I'm just here to say I personally believe, bro, like, and I wouldn't really let nobody take that away from me. I mean, if someone got a question or they got an opinion, that's cool, but I'm not going to come down on them or tell them that they're wrong just because they don't believe what I believe, because that's not even what the Bible tells me to do. So I'm not going to go out there and do that.
I thought the Bible does say to tell people.
Not in the New Testament.
In Timothy, what is it? Timothy 3:15. Am I right about that? Ember, you know the Bible verse I'm talking about?
Not exactly. You gotta tell it to me.
It says you always be prepared to provide a defense for the faith that you have. Like always be prepared to give a reason why you believe. Defend.
Romans.
What? I thought it was okay. I always get the.
Yeah, I'm not Justin. I don't know the Bible encyclopedically like he does.
Amber, you're supposed to know everything. What is happening? Like my faith in Amber.
I'm not that kind of minister, damn it.
Okay. No, I think it's like, what is it? Does anybody in the chat know what I'm talking about? Anyway, but I thought it says to spread the gospel, that you are supposed to tell people.
Spread the gospel, but spreading the gospel is to be, I think what a lot of Christians have misinterpreted about spreading the gospel is spreading the gospel coming to be and saying like, oh, well, you don't believe in God, you're going to hell. This is what's going to happen to you, all because you don't believe in God. You're wrong for not believing God. That's not spreading the gospel. Me spreading the gospel could easily be me telling you Jesus loves you. I could tell you a Bible verse, and if you want to hear more, I tell you more. But if you don't, I keep going on about my day. I pray for you, and I do that. That's that. A lot of Christians look at spreading the gospel as coming down on people, talking to them a certain way. When literally, the Bible tells us to be Christ-like, and never once did Jesus ever curse anybody out, yell at anybody, or come down on anybody for not believing in him. That was never the case. He definitely did speak about it, and he definitely did say he definitely did talk to them a certain way, because Jesus was going around, he's committing miracles, and he was telling people, you see me commit these miracles, and yet you still say I'm not the Son of God. But I highly doubt there's any Christian that you've spoken to that's performed a miracle in your face, and to where you could say, oh, well, yeah, but even if that was the case, the Bible tells us to be Christ-like, and to be Christ-like is to do what Jesus was doing, not literally be him, but try to be like him. So one of the things that he was doing when he walked around, he was spreading the gospel. He didn't force anybody to believe. People still made that choice at the end of the day. So me spreading the gospel could, like I said, easily me telling you a Bible verse or telling you about Jesus. And if you want to know more, I can tell you more. But if you don't, then I don't tell you anything. I pray for you and I go on about my day. I'm not going to keep being in your face trying to do the same thing over and over again because we're not going to get anywhere. You don't believe, I can't force you to. All I can do is plant that mustard seed like the Bible tells me to.
Well, I mean, Jesus did flip some tables and make some whips and then whipped people.
You said what?
Jesus flipped tables and whipped people if they didn't know.
He came into the church and people were selling stuff in the church and he got angry that people were using the place that was supposed to be sanctuary in the wrong way. So yes, he did get angry.
I know. I'm just messing with you. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
But...
that's one of my favorite parts of the Bible. I have mad respect for that.
Right, because I mean that's when you look at the church is like a place that's supposed to be for a specific set of, not really a specific set of. It's supposed to just be a sanctuary place. People that can go to and pray, talk to God, do all that stuff. So it's like if you have that type of place for everybody to go to, and then people are going in there using it the wrong way, I mean, you're gonna feel some type of way. 100%, I would too.
Yeah. Well, I've heard like sermons too, and it's so crazy that we have the white evangelical church the way that it behaves these days. Because like as far as I understand, and the way I've heard that part of the Bible taught was that they were literally upcharging people that were of a different race for the clean animals that they would sacrifice or whatever. They were like charging more to the people that were people, just different ethnicities or whatever. And they were like, oh, you got to pay more because whatever. I don't know where they get that as far as like evidence goes, but I could see getting mad about that. You know what I mean?
And honestly, bro, like I said, I even as being a Christian, I could look at a lot of churches and say like they're there, but there's a lot of people leading people the wrong way, and there's a lot of people preaching the wrong things, and a lot of people saying the wrong things, and a lot of people doing the wrong things, but then trying to claim themselves to be a Christian. But like the Bible tells us, there's going to be a lot of false prophets. There's going to be a lot of people spreading the false gospel, and they're going to be trying to lead people the wrong way. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's something we were just going to have to see happen. Not something that should be happening, but something that's just, that the Bible said is going to happen at one point. So, I mean, there's people out here that's still saying that Jesus Christ is coming back September 23rd. I saw a guy said he was coming back August 29th. So, I mean, there's just a lot of people out here that's just filling people's heads up with the wrong information. Yeah. But I could definitely say, like, as someone that's a Christian, not everybody is definitely, giving us a good title, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of how a lot of us in the atheistic and agnostic communities get to where we are is we see people spreading around stuff that turns out to be clearly false, like Jesus is coming on August 29th. And we see over and over and over again these false teachers spreading, false prophecy. And we're like, 100%. Are any of these, is any denomination right? Does anybody have correct information, or at least isn't trying to con us with bullshit? And we can't find them. So even those of us who want to believe can't find any truth to latch onto.
Right. I definitely, like I said, I 100% understand that. I 100% understand that. And I could definitely see why that would lead people the wrong way. Because sometimes people go to church, or even they just talk to Christians, and a lot of Christians can be very, very judgmental. It could, go about I feel like sometimes they're trying to say something good, but they go about saying it the wrong way. And I feel like it's all about how you approach somebody. At the end of the day, I do believe you should tell people the truth. I don't believe you should tell somebody a comforting lie. Like, I would never sit up here and tell you that, if you were to ask me a question, I'm never going to just tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, because at the end of the day, why would I tell you something that's not really true just so you could feel good about yourself? But there is, at the end of the day, still a way to go about saying these things as being Christian, or just being people in general.
I completely agree with that as well. That's one of the reasons that we're out here doing this kind of thing. It's because we see people believing things that to us seems like no good reason, and it carries a lot of baggage, like certain ways you have to behave, certain things you have to believe, and it can cause a great deal of harm. So we're like, believe if you really want, but these beliefs can be very harmful. So you don't have to, and there isn't a reason to.
Right. Right, and I definitely see where you're coming from on that point. And like I tell a lot of people, most of the time, I am one to spread the gospel. I am one to talk about Jesus and talk about God. But I also tell a lot of other Christians that are in my circle, and a lot of other people I've seen on TikTok or just in general, I tell them sometimes, bro, like, you sometimes saying something don't really mean anything, but you just live by it, bro. When you live by it, maybe people will be a little more interested. When you live a certain way and you act a certain way and you're doing what the Bible tells you to do, maybe a lot of more people will look at you differently instead of you going around and like trying to get up in everybody's face. And I understand like you're very hyped to talk about God, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, there's never nothing wrong with that. But the Bible also does let us know that, you know, talking about God don't really mean anything, because there's a lot of people in the Bible who talk about God, but they didn't live a life for God. So it's like, it's not all just about what you say, it's all about what you do too. So
oh yeah, that's definitely true. This past winter I got stuck in ice, and it was awful. I was exhausting myself trying to dig my car out, and this really old dude who lived up the street comes over and he just starts helping. And he like went back to his house and got salt and boards and whatever, and we worked on it for like an hour in the freezing cold, and we finally got the car out. And I said, thank you so much, and all that stuff. And he just shakes his head and he goes, I'm a Christian, and gets back in his car and goes home. And I'm like, huh, maybe they don't all suck.
Like 100%. Like it's just sometimes, you know, people just, I don't know. It get really difficult sometimes. Like I've been on a live before where I was talking to somebody, and they were there was other Christians in the live with me, and the girl had just called him. She just straight up said, she was like, "But you're stupid." And she was like, "You're stupid and you're just dumb. Like you don't believe in God, and that's just gonna lead you towards hell." And I definitely see the point she was trying to make, but it's just about, would Jesus even say something like that? Jesus wouldn't go out and just call people stupid and dumb all because they don't believe in him. He never did that once. So it's like, why are you doing that? And I understand, like I said, a lot of people are hyped to talk about God, and I do myself. I'm very happy to talk about God, very happy to speak about him, and very happy to live like him, and try to be the best Christian I possibly could be. But at the end of the day, all of us as Christians, we all fall short. And like it tells us in Titus, it tells us to be kind, be respectful to everybody, because at one point we were just like them. We were just cruel. We were sinners. We were all these things. So why are we judging people for the people that we used to be? It makes no sense. It's like, it's all about how you go about certain things,
Yeah.
Not being too prideful just because you have a title that you believe in God and somebody else does.
But
yeah.
I mean,
and that would ease a lot of social troubles if people did believe that way. Because like you were asking earlier, if anybody tried to force people to be Christian, and some people do. There are people in public official offices and whatnot who, they'll treat you different if they find out you're an atheist. People will react to you like you're not trustworthy, or you're lesser, or you're stupid, or whatever the case may be. Right. They try to coerce you through their behavior.
Right. Well, the Bible tells you to treat my neighbors how I want to be treated, and the Bible also tells me to love my brothers and sisters. So every single day, I try to treat everybody with respect. At the end of the day, I try to treat everybody with respect, and share care, and do whatever I can to just let people know, like, there's people out there who care about you, regardless if you don't believe the same thing I believe. I still care about you at the end of the day, and if you want to know about them, I'll teach you about them. And whenever I could bring them into the conversation, I try to. So it's like, it's never going to be me forcing it on you. It's just going to be me talking about them. Because if you believe in God just because I told you to, then there's no point in you believing in God at that point. It got to be all about your personal belief and what you want to do, because he gave us the choice to choose him or not choose him. So I'm never going to force anybody to, believe.
So you would be against like teaching the Bible in public schools and stuff, pushing?
I mean, I feel like it. I feel like it all just depends on how it's going about. I feel like if it's a class that people could choose to take, then yeah, 100%. But I feel like if it's a class that we're all forcing to take, then I feel like that's just like, it's not good. Because like I said, being forced to do something it's not going to feel the same. Like if I'm forced to go do a job that I really don't want to do, or really don't feel like doing, it's not going to feel the same compared to if I want to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if it's a class in school that people can choose that if they want to take or not want to take, then yeah, 100% I agree. But I feel like if it's a class that everybody mandatory has to take, then no, I don't feel like that's, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people would say everybody should hear the gospel. And yeah, that's true. But at the end of the day, you can't make everybody hear the gospel. They still have to want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's just all about that. I'm not against it though, but it's just all about how they go about doing it.
It's wise because there's entailments too. Like if they mandated a class on the Bible, they could just as easily mandate a class on the Quran and whatever else.
That's what I was just gonna say. Yep.
So it's just all about, trying to just go out there and spread the gospel and be, try to teach people about it. And if they want to learn, they do. If they don't, then they don't. I can't force anybody to believe. So
let me ask you this, because I am serious. I am genuinely curious about this. Now I'll read a lot of the like the words of like Buddha, right, and then like other prominent people, right, and there's some really deep stuff that like Buddha has said that is like genuinely helpful to a lot of people. And anytime that Jesus comes up and they're like, oh no, Jesus has said like the most impactful stuff, I never can find anything, because like it always just seems to be like the stuff that Jesus said was impactful, but only as long as you believe the whole thing. Like he doesn't actually spread any wisdom that could be, you know what I mean, that is like anything deep other than like, I'm God, you got to believe in me and stuff like that. Like that's the only type of stuff he said. You know what I mean? Like, do you have any like but people always say that he says like this really wise stuff. Is there anything that you could say, like that you would say that is the words of Jesus, that is like deep, wise stuff that isn't just as long as you're believing the Christian gospel or whatever, then it feels wise, but otherwise it's not really, it's just whatever, you know what I mean? It's just him saying he's God and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I definitely, I know what you mean. And one thing I definitely say to a lot of different people when it comes to Jesus teaching, a lot of things that Jesus did say that we still use it to this day, or regardless if somebody sees it as impactful or non-impactful, a lot of things Jesus did preach to a lot of people back then, and even to his disciples, we still use these teachings to this day, like, treat your neighbor how you want to be treated, respect everybody, try to show love and show care to everybody, be respectful and everything. A lot of things that Jesus did teach and did preach, a lot of things that we still use to this day. I feel like it just all depends on.
Well, you know why? You know why it's called the golden rule, to treat people the way they would want to be treated?
Why you say that?
It is because it's in every single holy book. They call it the golden rule because it's in every single, like about 500 years prior to Jesus saying that, Buddhists were saying that. And then before that, Hindus were saying that. They said treat people the way they would want to be treated, which I think is honestly better, because like, you might not know what somebody else wants to be treated like. But I get the idea of like wanting to empathize, and I think that's a good way to go. Like I understand what he was doing, but at the same time, it's like I think Buddha had it better by saying treat people the way they want to be treated, because you might think like, oh man, I would need some tough love right here, and that would snap me back into, but like somebody else would be like, I don't want to be treated with tough love right now. That's actually not going to help me. You know what I mean? So like, I actually think the treat people the way they want to be treated is better. But see, that's what you just said is the one thing that everybody points to that Jesus said that was like actually wise. And I would agree, except that it was said prior. By somebody else, is there anything else?
Another big thing, and like I said, I feel like this one, it comes down to personal opinion, because I've told people this and they've completely disagreed, and I've told people this and sometimes they agree to an extent. And one of the another things that Jesus talked about when Peter came to him and he said, Jesus, what do I do when somebody does me, when my brother does me wrong 7 times? And Jesus told him, he said, let him do wrong by you 70 times, 7 times. And basically he was just talking about letting there be forgiveness. And he gave them a story, and he said one of the servants owed a priest $10,000. And the priest, the master was going to take his family and going to take all his farm and everything. And the dude begged for forgiveness. The servant begged for forgiveness. And he said, please forgive me. And he let him go, and he forgave him for owing him $10,000. So he just said, forget about it. It's all good. And so he went to another servant that owed him $100. And he said, where's my $100, everything like that. And the dude said, please, I'll be able to get it to you. Just give me some time. And he actually held him down all the way up until they was able to take him to jail. And I feel like that's a great story of his exemplification, because I have been wronged by a lot of people in my life. And even if we don't feel like this, if we forgive somebody, or we're going to hold a grudge, or even if we hate them, at the end of the day, feeling something towards somebody else that you don't like, more than likely they're never going to feel it, because more than likely you're never going to be around somebody you don't like. So when you're holding that in your heart, it's only really affecting you every single day. It's only going to affect you and how you live your life. The sun is still going to go up and the sun is still going to go down. So at the end of the day, regardless if you hold something against somebody, or if you hate somebody else, or if you have something against somebody else, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because they're not going to really feel that. At the end of the day, the only person who's feeling that hate and feeling that grudge is you when you wake up in the morning. So it's like, I feel like that's another really big thing that he taught people. That
it's funny though. It's funny that you said that, because again, 500 years prior, Buddha said, if you won't forgive people, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. In other words, not forgiving people is bad for you. It's not, you know what I mean? Like it hurts you. And I agree with that, because again, like Buddha's all about like finding peace, right? Like it's all about like finding peace in life. So he said that earlier, that you should forgive, right? So again, that's kind of another one that I agree, Jesus was right about that. But somebody had already said it for 500 years prior. So I'm still kind of stuck here as far as like what Jesus said that was like a good thing. That's I guess I should have said that's unique to Jesus.
What's unique to Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
The biggest unique I find of Jesus.
Oh.
The biggest unique that I find of Jesus Christ is he died on the cross, and everybody, the people who hated him, the people who loved him, even the people who beat on him, even the people who put the crown of thorns in his head, he died for all of them. He died for every single last one of them. The people who he knew wasn't even going to end up believing him, the people who weren't going to really live by him, the people who were only going to use his name when it was convenient, everybody who was going to claim his name but not really live by what he's asking us to do, he died for every single last one of them. And he shed that blood on the cross for everybody. No matter if they was going to hate him, no matter if they were going to burn his Bible, no matter if they were going to hate even hearing his name, he still died for every single last one of them. And I find that to be a really impactful thing that what Jesus did, because I don't really know about any other religion, but everybody else that I know who had died in another religion, they didn't raise 3 days later. And I find that to be a very big, impactful thing, regardless if you do believe or if you don't believe. And I feel like if you have enough empathy within your heart, you would say, this man that lived a perfect life, didn't sin, didn't do wrong by anybody, still died at the hands of the same people that he did no wrong by. So I find that to be one of the most biggest impactful thing that Jesus Christ did, dying on the cross for literally everybody, the people before him and even the people coming after him.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So, but again, you still have to believe all that stuff is true. So there's no like actual wisdom that could be like that is outside of having to believe in the claims of the religion. I
mean, right. But like I said, even if you don't believe, if you're reading a story like that, you got to have some type of empathy within your heart to say, okay, that's, that's something impactful. Even if you don't believe it, that's still something that I see. Even if I didn't believe it, I would have empathy towards that.
Well, I think that's, no offense, I think that's insane. Why did God have to sacrifice himself to himself? Why did he have to torture, murder himself to be like, okay, now I can forgive people? He created all the rules, and yet he made up a rule that's like, I can't forgive people unless I torture, murder something, and it used to be animals. And then he's like, nah, it's cool, I'll fix it. I'll be the animal that I torture, murder. Why is it torture, murder? What's happening here? Why do you got to? What the hell? What's going? Why is he bloodthirsty?
In the Bible, you have to understand that God did make all the rules and he did make all the regulations, but like I said, people have a choice and people live their life a certain way, and God saw this happening, so he made a decision to let his son die on the cross, so that when people put their hands together and they ask for forgiveness, that that the forgiveness will mean something. Because even when you read about Moses and you read about Abraham, you read about all these other people, they didn't have like someone physically there to really show them and really tell them on how to live life. You only see God talking to them in sometimes only certain ways, and not really just having a full-blown conversation with them. So it's like, these people lived to the best of their ability that they could. So that's why Jesus Christ came down on the cross and he died for everybody's sins so that they could be forgiven, because we hold a lot of sin within ourselves. But regardless if you think you don't do wrong or if you do wrong, we hold a lot of sin within ourselves. So when you're able to ask for forgiveness, those sins are washed away. They're forgot about. They're not even talked about no more. They won't be written down anywhere. Those sins are just gone forever. So it's like, I find that, to be pretty impactful.
I mean, and I get that. And it sounds like to me that like the familiarity that you have with the religion makes all this stuff sound normal, right? But like, take yourself out of it for a second. Imagine if you didn't know, if you weren't like, raised, like we're all raised with this, like being a normal thing, right? Like just the, Jesus sacrificed himself, and you're like, oh, that's a beautiful story of love. But like, again, he murdered himself because he's like, and that's an act of love, the torture murder of something. And like, if you didn't have that familiarity with this story, do you think that this would be a story of love, or do you think it'd be like, hold on, this is gross and evil and weird? Like, what the hell? What? You know what I mean? Like, what? But like, you're like, oh no, but he's just, it's an act of sacrifice and everything. But it's like, why? Like, why? Like, why did this? It's not, we're acting like it's normal. It's not normal. Like blood magic and torture murder, not normal. This obsession with like having to kill somebody, even if it's like supposedly you sacrificing yourself to yourself through a heinous act of bloodshed. Like, what? That's not normal. That's not loving. That's weird. It's kind of gross.
It comes across as extremely fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, God couldn't forgive anybody, even for the sake of his son. He couldn't do it without that human sacrifice, and that is seriously fucked up. But also, as I forget who said it, but there's a saying running around, like, if you think God loves you, look at what happened to Jesus, and that's his son. If he would do that to his son, what fucking chance do you have?
I definitely, I think looking at it from the outside and looking at it really just from y'all's perspective, I could definitely see where that could be really messed up and really wrong in your eyes. But I mean, if you had a family, I mean, would you be willing to sacrifice yourself for them?
Myself, but not my child.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Jesus is the Son of God, but Jesus and God are still one. Jesus does mention that they are still one, but he is the Son of God, but they are still one.
But if I had the choice to not have to sacrifice anybody, if I was all powerful, that'd be the road I'm going with. You know what I mean? Yeah,
100%. And Jesus, not Jesus, but God already gave humanity that chance on 2 different occasions. He did it once with Adam and Eve, and then he did it again with Noah's Ark. So it's like, he gave people 2 chances to try to turn to him, and he saw that this wasn't impactful. This wasn't good enough for them. This wasn't giving them any sign. So he sent somebody, not just to die, but also to come here and live by example and also preach to the people. So Jesus didn't just come here and die. He impacted people before he died. So people actually looked to him before he even died. And some people looked to him after he died and then he resurrected. But a lot of people also still look to Jesus before he even got on the cross. So looking at it from y'all's perspective, that does sound really crazy that God would have to send his only son to die on the cross. I definitely understand that. These people look to Jesus before he even got on the cross. And some people look to him after that, but a lot of people look to Jesus before he even got on the cross. So Jesus made probably one of the biggest impacts in the Bible from anybody that you can talk about compared to anybody else. Because even when Moses was leading all the Israelites, he left for a couple of days to go on a mountain, and when he came back, they were already worshiping a gold calf. So it's like these people were looking towards Jesus more than they were looking towards anybody else, not just because what he was saying, because what also he was doing. So these people looked at Jesus before he even got on the cross. So I definitely understand y'all's perspective.
Okay.
But I just look at it as a lot of people looked to Jesus before he even sacrificed himself on the cross. So I just
like one of the examples you gave is you're like, God tried to give people a chance, and then he had to kill the whole planet. And you're like, what? That was one of the chances. The other one was with Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, if we're getting into like the truthfulness of this story, like there's so many weird things about that story. I mean, I'm not even going to really needle hard at the talking snake thing, but like, or serpent, sorry. But like going like to the, when Cain and Abel, that whole story, Cain killed Abel because God didn't like Cain's sacrifice, right? That whole story. And then he had to put a mark on Cain because otherwise all the other people would kill him for some other people. What the fuck? Hold on. What other people? You see where I'm like, this is just like, I don't understand how people can think this is true. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to like talk down or anything. But
looking at it from that way, I definitely understand. But I also look at it as like, if you look at God, and if you look at what the Bible says, God made humanity, he made everybody. So if you're making all these people and then they're doing all these things that you never asked them to do, and they're just completely doing the complete opposite, you could say killing them could be very incorrect, but then, okay, leave those people there and then bring a new set of people, or do whatever that you think would be the right way to do it. But in an example, like you bring a new set of people there that are following you or doing the right thing, those same people that you left there are going to influence those same other people. And maybe not every single last one of those new set people are going to go over to the other side, but a lot of them are still going to find and move their way over to the other side because they're going to be convinced to just like, this makes no sense, bro. God is not really here. He's not doing any of this. This is all true. This is like all false. So it's like killing them, you could say, is a very wrong way. But I mean, this might not sound good to y'all, but at the end of the day, God is really just like he can do what he wants to do. And whether people look at that as evil or bad, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because he's God. Because it's like he has full control to do what he wants to do.
Like, can he do what he wants to do? Because if he's just, then isn't he bound by the rules of justice? Doesn't he have to do what is just, not necessarily what he might want?
Right, and I feel like when you say it like that, you would look at it as what God has to do is justice to the people, but he's doing justice to what he think is right to himself.
Does human suffering matter to him? Like, does human suffering come into right and wrong at all?
Do I think that matters to him?
Do you think it matters in the sense of right and wrong?
Right or wrong?
Because God has to do right, right?
God, but I mean, I would probably think so. Yeah, probably.
Does God get his own standard of right and wrong?
He probably does. Yes, he definitely does have a standard of right or wrong.
Really? So he gets so he gets to be harmful, and it can still be considered right, just because God did it.
Even when you talk about Noah's Ark, let's use Noah's Ark for an example. God specifically told Noah, build this ark. But he didn't just tell him, build this ark, be selfish, don't tell anybody. He told Noah, build this ark, but also try to convince these other people. They didn't decide to listen, so they ultimately suffered what was going to happen because they didn't listen. And that's not really, I mean, you could say that's evil in a sense, but they still made a choice to not listen. So it's just like, I mean, they had a chance. They had a very long time, actually, because Noah built his ark with, I think, was in 100 years, I think. So they had 100 years to be like, okay, yeah, we're convinced by you, Noah. Like, you're building this big ark, you're building this big boat. Like, even if I didn't believe, I'm going to be like, yo, this dude's building a really big boat, and we've never seen rain. I mean, we could say he's crazy, but this is a really big boat, and this is taking him a lot of time. I mean, do we really just think he's building this for no reason? I would want to believe that some people genuinely question themselves on that.
Well, whether Noah came up as crazy or not is kind of besides the point, because the entire angle is kind of victim blaming, right? It's like these people decided not to listen to one man who gave them no good reason other than he's doing something that looks crazy to listen to him. And so it's their fault that the all-powerful God couldn't do anything other than drown them all. Like, God could not come up with a better way.
What do you think would have been a better solution for that?
Not doing the whole thing.
What do you saying? Like, what do you feel like? What do you feel like would have been a better solution for doing that?
Not needing people to listen to one person, otherwise they kill the whole planet.
Right. So you feel like he should have gathered more people to listen to,
or maybe appeared, showed himself instead of spreading word for what seems like a crazy person.
But that would defeat the purpose of walking by faith and not by sight.
Why do you have to do?
Well, is that the more important purpose? Because it seems to me
that's a pretty important purpose, but that's not the main purpose. But that's pretty important when it comes to believing in God. I've never personally seen God face to face. I've never had anything like God.
First of all, you said you had a personal experience.
So. Yeah, I had a personal experience, but it wasn't a personal experience with me saying I saw God.
Well, I'll leave that aside for now, but Noah saw God. Adam and Eve saw God. Moses kind of saw God's backside, depending on how you want to interpret it.
Yeah.
He saw his butt. Yeah.
God can be seen. And even Jesus, with doubting Thomas, was willing to give evidence. So it's not like an ultimate, unalterable command that you must walk by faith, right? Like, God has been willing to give evidence when it serves his purpose. So if his purpose is to redeem mankind, is to get people to worship him, I guess, is the greatest moral good for some reason that I'm sure totally isn't egotistical, narcissistic, and selfish. But if the point is to avert the flood, to having to kill everyone, then why wouldn't he do whatever the hell it takes to do that?
Well, everything God does has a plan behind it at the end of the day. So, I mean, even if you don't see his plan, he has a plan behind it.
Why would we think that, though? Like, people say that, but from the looks of things, it doesn't seem that way. That seems like an apologetic. It seems like hand-waving. Like, when we look at the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, God was on his way to Sodom to investigate rumors that the people were unrighteous. He didn't already know. And then Abraham and him get into an argument. Abraham's like, you're going to nuke the city because a few people are sinners? And God's like, fine. If you can find 50 righteous people, I won't nuke the city. And then Abraham negotiates with him and gets him down. Okay, 40 people, I won't destroy the city. 30 people, I won't destroy the city. Finally, they settle on 10. Like, God changes his mind several times. How the fuck does he have a plan? He doesn't know what's happening, and he's convinced by a mortal to do something other than his just blast everything and sort it out later inclinations. And that's just one story.
Right. No, I like I said, I definitely understand, and I see where you're coming from. At the end of it, at the end of the day, seeing what God does as being evil or unjust or not right. Like I said,
he's a murder-lusty bastard from my perspective, because I've read the damn book. Like, when Abraham goes up onto the mountain and they make the golden calf, Yahweh's first instinct is smite them all and start over. And Moses is like, hold on, God, hold on. You can't just smite all of them. What will the other gods think? And Yahweh's like, oh, yeah, right. I got to worry about my reputation with the other gods. What do you suggest? And Abraham's like, let me, talk to them. And so he ends up only smiting half of them, and it's fine, I suppose. But, like...
And gold smelting wasn't invented until way later, but that's beside the point.
Well, everybody that you're naming was chosen by God. And even those people, anybody you name, I think besides like a couple, but even Moses himself, he could have been smited with those people too, because he broke one of the 10 commandments that literally were given to him by God.
Oh.
I mean, he did get punished in the end. He smote the one rock that he wasn't supposed to, and
right, and he didn't get to get into the promised land. But before that even happened, you know what Moses did, right? You do know he was on the run from Jesus for I think God stopped talking to him for 7 years, and you know that he had unalived somebody before he even was called to get the Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
And even with Paul, he was prosecuting Christians. He was stoning them before his name was even Paul. His name was Saul. He was literally stoning Christians. So it's like all these people that are being named in the Bible, they have all rights to be with those people too. They were just chosen.
They're all sinful. They're not as sinful as this Yahweh monster is. They don't kill the entire world, but they all do commit sins. I'll grant you that one.
But it's kind of, who cares? I mean, like, this is where, like, if the person telling you the rules is breaking the rules, then what are the, like, and you're like, oh no, he gets his own rules. He gets a different set because he's the God. And so he doesn't have to abide by anything where human well-being matters at all.
Yeah, I can see that. But I think we also got to remember, these are rules given to us by God for us to follow. He never said that he were going to follow these rules. These are rules given to us for us to follow, not for him. He never specifically said, oh, well, I'm giving y'all these rules. I abide by these rules. These are rules that was given to us.
Okay, hold on, though. If those are the moral law, right? Like, that's what is commonly called the Ten Commandments, and thou shalt not kill seems like a pretty moral-based command. Mm-hmm. And he is supposed to be like this being of perfect morality. How in the world can he not follow these moral laws that he has dictated?
Well, that all just really goes back to, like I said, a lot of people don't want to hear it, and a lot of people just find this as being like just weird and wrong. But like I said before, God is really, he's just, he can do what he wants to do, regardless if we feel some type of way about it or not. Because, I mean, it's just...
Yeah.
So might make right?
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants, you know. So it just doesn't matter if he's good or not.
But me telling you that isn't me saying that what he's doing is right or wrong. Me telling you what I'm saying isn't me saying, well, I agree with this. But me telling you this is me just saying God can do what he wants to do, regardless of how we feel about it.
I mean, we can't physically stop him if he is, in fact, all-powerful. So there's that. But that doesn't mean that he's worthy of worship, right? Like, you're more moral than this angry sky being, right? Like, if you were faced with a situation where people weren't worshiping you 24/7, I don't think you would be the kind of person to murder everyone on the planet. I don't think you'd be the kind of person to send soldiers into a city. Like, if God leaned down and told you, send those soldiers in and kill every man, woman, and child except the virgin girls and share those with your men for their own personal use, you would tell that God to fuck off. I really think you would. You're more moral than he is.
If God commanded me to do that?
Yeah. I mean, he did that in the Bible. He said, kill everybody but the virgin girls, which is weird. And he said, keep them for yourselves, which has some serious connotations to it. So
yeah, and then, when it comes to that, I've also, like, a lot of people use that specifically, and they lean on that a lot. When I talk to a lot of different people and them saying that God is evil, they lean on that a lot. And I don't have a defense system for that. I don't have any say to say if that was right or wrong. But I haven't
can't say that's wrong.
I haven't even read the story myself. I just been told it so many times that it's like, by now I know it. But it's like, even other people who talk about it, they say, well, God did it, but I don't see it as being right. But what can I say against what God does? And that's the same way I feel. I don't see it as being right. I don't see it as being correct. But what can I say against what God does?
Well, you don't have to believe it.
Is it makes you, the whole religion makes you buy into moral atrocities. Like, this thing is horrible, and you know it is, but you still have to say it's good because God did it.
Oh, no. I'm not telling you it's good. I definitely think it's wrong. But like I said, what can I say against what God is doing?
Exactly. It creates that cognitive dissonance where you're more moral than your God. You either have to take all the baggage of all the moral atrocities, or you say, I don't agree, and that makes me a sinner, I guess. Like, the point is, from our perspective, there's no good reason to believe in this story, and there's a lot of horrific baggage that comes with it, and you're a better person than that. So why believe in something with no good reason to do so that carries so much crap with it.
Mm-hmm. You said it's a choice. Do you believe it's a choice?
I think also another reason is also for the fact that is the Old Testament, and as all of us know, we don't live in the Old Testament anymore because there's a lot of laws in the Old Testament that even myself, I'm breaking right now. You're not even supposed to wear the same cloth on cloth. You're not supposed to tattoo yourself. You're not supposed to do all these different things. And I have tattoos. I'm wearing the same cloth on cloth. So we don't live in the Old Testament. And that's not to say that what God did was right or just or anything like that. But that's just also to say that the Old Testament was a completely different time period for what compared is to the New Testament. So a lot of things that people read in the Old Testament as being wrong or evil or unjust or however they view it is also just like that was a completely different time period in which we live in right now.
Sure, and I'm glad to see you're living your life regardless of those commands that clearly don't have any use in the modern day, like shellfish. It made sense back in the day. You had a good chance of getting sick. Now we know how to cook shellfish, and so it's fine. Yeah. Like there was a health benefit, but now there isn't, so there's no point to the rule. But
like 70 people threw up, got sick, and got the shits, and they were like, "All right, you know what? This God commanded. This is wrong. This is bad. Don't eat that stuff." Same thing with pork. Pork is the same kind of way. You don't cook it right. You're
there's Christians
sick.
out there who believe that we shouldn't even be eating meat. So I mean.
Really?
Yeah, I get that. And, kudos to you for living your life. And, as the saying goes, if you don't sin, Jesus died for nothing. But there's still people carrying some of those old beliefs and using them as a sledgehammer to try to fuck up other people's lives.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, people are running around saying, oh, well, the old law doesn't apply anymore because of the new covenant with Jesus. And
it doesn't.
That's great so far as it goes, but then they'll turn around and invoke Leviticus and be like, yeah, we should be killing gay people. Like, what the fuck?
Well, those same people just shouldn't even be classifying themselves as Christians, because if you read anywhere in the New Testament, nowhere does it tell us to prosecute anybody because of their sexual morality.
I mean, it says that it's there's a bunch of places where it says that.
So you know where the New Testament starts and where it ends, right?
Wait, there's a New Testament? It starts at some point? Hold on.
Yeah, there's a start. There's a first book in the New Testament, and then there's the last book in the New Testament. The first book in the New Testament is Matthew, and the last book in the New Testament is Revelation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Pretty neat. And nobody says a damn thing just on the specific issue of homosexual people. Jesus never says a word about it. Paul's whole thing is a vision about people overcome with unnatural lusts, not that people, I don't know. The way it seems to me when I read that passage is Paul talking about people being overcome with lusts different from what they ordinarily feel, rather than straight people being made lustful for whatever, rather than gay people simply existing, Yeah,
and a lot of people that you read about in the Bible, I think really just the Old Testament, a lot of their deaths succumbed to lust. So a lot of them got overthrown by lust, and a lot of them passed away because of
it. They passed away because of their lust?
Yeah.
Too much cum buildup. They exploded.
Like Samson, I think Samson's a great story of
and if you have some cum buildup, go to Adam and Eve. There we go. Still getting that. Sorry, I have to do ad breaks. Go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brandley at checkout. Get 50% off almost any one item. 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brantley. You didn't think I could work it into this conversation, but I did. That's right. I'm a professional.
Talking about Christianity with getting hung up on things or getting nailed, it's super
And if you want to get hung up on something whilst being nailed, go to adamandeve.com. And
Peter was crucified. Same way Jesus was. Well,
That's
not
right.
the same way, but he was crucified too.
No, he was upside down, basically 69.
The reason why he went upside down is because he said he wasn't good enough to be held upright like Jesus was, but he still was crucified.
That's right. Wasn't it an X too? I hear it's an X. A lot of. Have you heard that?
Died?
Yeah. Have you heard that there was like an X cross or something? I've heard that.
No, I haven't heard that one, but I do know upside down cross is Saint Peter. That's actually how Peter was crucified.
Yeah, I've seen. It's funny too because I've like seen people that have like seen in the Vatican, right? In the Vatican, they have upside down crosses, right? And they're like, "See, Catholics are satanic," and it's like, no, dude, it's just paying homage to fucking Peter, who was crucified upside down. But of course, they don't go the extra step to look that up or anything. They just think they're satanic because they're Catholics and they're weird and wear dresses. And Catholicism is kind of creepy. Don't get me wrong. I get why they say that it's satanic. There's a whole horror genre sort of based around that sect of the religion. So I get it, but it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, but the Romans crucified a whole lot of people. It was one of their favorite activities back in the day.
Didn't have a lot to do, They didn't have pool tables yet, so torture murder. That's of course, right? When you don't have a pool table, torture murder. That's the next obvious thing, right?
Of course. Of course.
Jesus.
Now that's an interesting idea. Obviously, crucifixion's carried on for a while after Jesus.
Yeah.
But they did eventually come to an end, and it was after Jesus. In fact, I'd have to look it up, but it may be when Constantine tried to convert the whole empire to Christianity, he was like, okay, Jesus was killed on the cross. Maybe let's stop doing that.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, a lot of people also say they don't carry around crosses and stuff because they don't feel like as if they're like good enough in a sense to have a cross around their neck. And like I said, at the end of the day, it really all just, like I said, comes down to how people personally look at the Bible. But when I'm personally reading the Bible, I read the Bible off of what it says, not what I want to believe. I think a lot of people take a scripture and they use it in their life in the wrong way. Like I talked to a person before and it was like, well, God says, come to me as you are. Yeah, but he doesn't mean go to church basically naked so everybody can just be staring at you instead of listening to what the pastor has to say.
That's what he meant by come as you are. Come as you come into the world. Come to church that way. I love it.
And if you want to come as you are, go to
There we go. There we go.
There's
So
so many possibilities. But yeah, people definitely do read stuff into the Bible. They put their own interpretation on things. And we can try to be objective about Scripture, but it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I suppose, is like if we're going to is Scripture reliable? And if so, how do we tell which version? And like, why are there so many denominations if the answers are supposed to be either clear or revealed through the Holy Spirit or whatever? Like,
yeah. That was definitely one of my questions too. But as somebody who actually, I have a King James version and I have an English Standard version, I can genuinely tell you, as somebody who's like newly in faith and like really just getting back into reading it, there's some things I read and I just don't understand. And another big thing I also understood is they didn't speak English. So a lot of things that are translated into King James Version is like what people say is the closest way into which they would have spoke if they did speak English. And I feel like that's why some people read the Bible and they look at things and they read a scripture like, well, hold on, this makes no sense. Like I had someone tell me before, like Luke 14:26, why does it say I need to hate my mother, my brother, my sister, my father? But I told them, I said, the Greek word for hate actually means love less. And the only reason God tells us to love less is because he says to have no idols before him. And a lot of people is like, well, my parent can't be an idol, but you can possibly put your idol. You can possibly put your parent as an idol before God, 100%.
It says love less. Have you looked into the scholarship of that? Is that accurate?
Well, I know the New Testament was written in Greek, so I just know for a fact that, even if someone has something objectively against that, I just know that the New Testament is written in Greek. So a lot of things that are said in the New Testament, some of the key words that we take from it can be translated into Greek, which actually can give us what the actual word meant. And hate in Greek means love less.
Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can do
about
this.
that. It looks like the Greek word used in the Septuagint, which is what they translated the Hebrew from. It's missio, I guess. My pronunciation is probably awful, but it can be translated as to hate or to abhor, but it can also be to detest, or the general sense of rejection or expulsion.
Yeah, I don't think that sounds like a made-up apologetic, man. Have you looked? Have you looked up the actual Greek and like actually looked into it yourself? Because that is not that that's not true. So
I didn't go deep into it, but I knew for a fact that when I looked up what the word hate means in Greek, that Google specifically told me that hate in Greek means love less.
Yeah,
where do you get that? Hate.
I could get reject your first allegiance being to your parents and put God first, even though there's that whole commandment about love thy father or honor thy father and mother.
Of course, you can honor your mother and father with still putting God first.
But you know why that's in there, right? It's like because Jesus was. I mean, I hate to put it this way, but at the time he was a cult leader, and so anybody that might try to convince you that, hey, man, you're following a cult leader, stop doing everything this dude's saying and stop selling all your stuff to just go follow this person. He's like, you need to hate those people. Okay. You might need to do that because you need to listen to me and not them. That's what this is. That's what that verse is about. Like, everybody acts like it's not, but it's like he was telling people to leave their family, not listen to them, do everything he said, leave everything and follow him, So he's saying you got to basically hate. And he says that I've come to draw division. I've come to draw a line, but and to divide a father from his son, because he was a cult leader. He was doing the same type of thing that Jim Jones did when Jim Jones's cult family was like, "Hey, don't do that. Don't move over there," and everything. And he was like, "Not there." He's like, "You need to hate those people, okay? Because they're telling you not to do exactly what I'm telling you to do, and that's a problem." Right? That's when it was actually that's what was actually happening in those verses. Because otherwise, it doesn't make sense at all.
A bunch of other times in the Septuagint. One of them, that, for example, is Matthew 24:9, which is, then they will hand you over to be persecuted and will kill you, and you will be hated by all nations because of my name. In that instance, you will be persecuted, they will kill you. Does it make sense to say, and you will be liked less?
You will be you will be loved less.
Context there?
Come on, no.
Mark says a similar thing, Mark 13:13, and you will be hated on by all accounts, on account of my name. Like, will you be mildly?
I definitely feel as if there's been people I've talked to where they've gotten mad because I've said God or talk about him or whatever, but to say to go as far as to say I've personally spoken to somebody who said they've hate me, not to say that there hasn't been anybody, but I haven't ran into anybody who I would say hates me because I have spoke about God or I've said anything about God in general.
I know, yeah. Someone in the chat says we need to call Justin Stat. Have you seen Deconstruction Zone? Have you looked at that channel at all?
I've seen a couple of deconstructing Christianity. I don't think I've seen Justin though. Okay, yeah, you should talk to him. Man, he knows the different languages and the context of like the translations and all that type of stuff. The problem with the Bible is that the Bible says what the Bible says, and it doesn't align with what people believe, and it's a problem. If the Bible says what the Bible says, then I shouldn't have a right hand right now.
What? That you shouldn't have a right hand?
In Matthew, it says if your right hand is causing you to sin, cut it off. So I feel like if the Bible is really implying and everything is meant to be taken literally, then I shouldn't have a right hand right now.
Yeah,
Right.
a lot of people would have that same issue, or also have no eyes because that whole
Exactly. It says to gouge out your eyes as well.
Gotta
So
pluck those out.
I
Yeah.
would personally say, my right hand has caused me to sin, and my eyes have also caused me to sin, but I still have both of them. So
Yeah.
to say the Bible is meant to be taken literally is kind of like, not everything is meant to be literal. Some things are also used as metaphors and sometimes similes and stuff like that. So, and that was just a major hyperbole. God, Jesus wasn't literally telling us to cut off our right hand. He was saying that if there's something in your life causing you to sin, cut it off so that it doesn't allow you to sin.
So how do you determine what is metaphor and what is literal?
How do I take what's a metaphor and what is literal?
Yeah, how do you determine that?
I can use Revelations as an example. A lot of things that John saw within his visions, he saw within the spiritual world. And even people now, like people who talk about spiritual things, they would say, like, you wouldn't be able to physically comprehend what's actually going on because you're not meant to be there. Like, you wouldn't know, like, what is exactly going on because you're not meant to be there. John was given the ability to be able to see these things, but not everything he said is literally what it's going to be.
Wait a second. So you're telling me that a horn isn't literally going to fight and kill all the other horns? Damn. I thought I was waiting for that to happen.
I was
hoping. I really wanted the horn fight.
I haven't fully read Revelations, but I have gone over it.
You want to have a horny fight?
One of the things that he did speak about is
go to AdamandEve.com.
I completely forgot. It's something he spoke about, but it's not literal because John wasn't able to comprehend everything as in if he was seeing it in real life because he's seeing everything in the spiritual world.
Yeah. I mean, and you know that have you ever heard like the history of Revelation and like who wrote it and everything?
No, I haven't heard about that.
So the reason that Revelation is in the Bible is kind of a mistake. They thought that John the apostle wrote Revelation. He didn't. It's almost like completely agreed upon as far as like the scholarship goes, as far as like Bible scholars and everything. The John that wrote Revelation is not the John that wrote the Gospel of John. They're completely different. Like the Gospel of John, first of all, was written last. It was written later, right? And so if you try to use the argument, oh, he was in prison and he was old and he couldn't write. Well, he wrote John later. So it's not that he got old and senile, right? And he forgot parts of the language. Like he wasn't even good at talking. So like John of Patmos, which is who wrote Revelation, is not the same author. So it was and the only reason that Revelation was included in the Bible was just because they thought that this popular weird writing that was written by John, they were like, oh man, it's John, the John of the apostles, whatever. And so they put that in the Bible. It wasn't written by him. It was kind of included by mistake.
So you think Revelations was written by mistake?
I mean, it's called Revelation. And yeah, it was included in the Bible by mistake. I don't think it was written by mistake. It's funny you said that
because I talked to somebody before and he was telling me that like all 12 of Jesus' disciples never actually saw Jesus. They wrote about Jesus after he died.
That is
like everything they talked about was after he died.
Yeah, everything that was written down almost 3 decades after he had died. Yeah, that's true. It wasn't the apostles that wrote the Bible. You get that, right?
Oh, what'd you say? I didn't hear you.
Huh?
What'd you say? I didn't hear you.
Oh, it was written like almost 3 decades at the very least. It could have been up to 60 or 90 years after Jesus supposedly existed. But it wasn't written by the apostles either. You understand that, right?
The guy went on to tell me, he was like, what did he say? He said there was a dude that was closer to when Jesus died compared to all his other disciples who actually accounted that he never saw Jesus. And I told him, I said, well, I mean, even if that's true, there's people that were on earth the same time Jesus was, and they never knew who Jesus was. Like the thief on the cross never knew who Jesus was, never heard his name, never knew he was there, never knew anything about him.
Mm-hmm.
The only time he knew him was when he was looking directly at him. So, I mean, to say somebody who wrote about him after he died was closer to him when he died and no one had an account for him is, I mean, it just, that doesn't really faze me, because there was people who walk on the earth the same time Jesus was and still never heard of the name of Jesus. And there's even people now who's never heard about Jesus. People on isolated islands and stuff. You'll go talk to them and they'll probably be like, who's this Jesus person you're talking? I don't know who he is.
I don't understand the argument. What
No,
are you
there's
trying
an argument.
to?
I'm just saying, like.
No, I mean, I'm just. What are you trying to convey, like, by what you're saying?
I'm just saying, to say that all 12 of his disciples died after, because what he was trying to basically tell me was his 12 disciples writing about him could have been them making up any type of story compared to the person who was closer to him when he died, saying that, oh, well, I had no account for Jesus.
The Gospels were not written by the apostles. You understand that, right?
Yeah, I understand. I'm just going off what the other guy
Okay. Okay, but you're saying, I'm still confused. Because you're saying,
he's telling me every single last one of the Gospels that was written after Jesus died.
By a lot.
Is basically what he's telling me.
Yeah, by like 30 to 90 years.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
then he was
36.
saying there was another guy that was closer towards when Jesus died, and he had no account for Jesus.
Well, there was a bunch. I mean, the weird thing about Jesus historically was that he was not mentioned by any politician, by any philosopher, by anybody at the time that he supposedly existed. Is that what you're getting at? I think that might be what you're getting at.
That's what he was saying. He was basically saying that nobody has an account for Jesus.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. That is weird. And then all of a sudden, like 30 to 60 years later, there's all these stories about a guy who was supposedly like crucified, came back to life and everything, yet you don't have any contemporary sources at all. And even the ones that they cite, the Christians cite, they'll be like, oh man, there's this historian Josephus, man. Josephus heard all about Jesus. But if you look up when Josephus lived, he wasn't even born until after Jesus had supposedly died. Same thing with Tacitus and the others. Like there was no contemporary account of Jesus' existence at all, which is weird.
Yeah. I definitely could see how that could be weird. But like I tell everybody, I just walk by faith and I don't walk by sight. I told him, I said, in the end, if you believe that there is no God and I die and there isn't any God and I just die, then okay. But if there is a God and I'm able to go into heaven, then okay as well. I told him either way, what do I really lose or what do I really gain? Your
life. You only get one life.
Yeah, I only get one life, but this is the life that I'm choosing to live. So what do I lose in the end?
You're a wasted life. What if it's all wrong?
Life can be a waste.
Huh?
A lot of things you could do in life can be a waste.
Yeah, but like if you're living life like you understand that this is the only life you get, that it doesn't go on forever, that makes the value of this life like exponentially grow, right?
Since I follow God, there's only been so many things that I've cut off from my life that really wasn't even benefiting me in the end. Like I cut off smoking, I cut off being very lustful, I cut off having a lot of greed. Like these things didn't benefit me in the end. And I feel as if even if I got older, I would have realized these things regardless. So when I started following God, there was a lot of things that I have started doing that a lot of people see to be weird, but there's people who don't even believe in God that still do the same thing. So in the end, like I told him, I said, I don't really lose anything by if you believe that when I die, there is no God compared to me dying and I believe there is a God.
Right. But my point is just simply that, like, if you live like this is the only life you get and your life isn't infinite, Because you believe your life is infinite, right?
What do you mean by I think my life is infinite?
You're going to keep living in an infinite amount of time.
My flesh is going to die, yes, but I believe that my spirit will live on forever, yes.
Right. So like so this life kind of doesn't matter, right? Because you've decreased the value of this life by increasing your belief of how long this life is. It's like supply and demand, right? If the supply is infinite, then the demand is literally non-existent. It's like saying dirt. You know what I mean? Dirt is not valuable, right? Why? Because there's an infinite amount of dirt. It doesn't matter, you know. But if you understand the preciousness of this life and that it isn't going to go on forever, you're going to value it and go, oh my gosh, I actually got to like do the things that I want to do now. Like I don't have an infinity to go live into, right? Like that changes things a lot for me.
Yeah,
I started living, man. Like I used to think like that. I was like, hey man, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I'm gonna go to heaven anyway, and everything's gonna be great. I'm gonna be with my family. I'm just living for when I get to go to heaven. I'm just living for dying, basically, as a Christian.
Yeah, I definitely do live my life by what God tells me to do, but since I follow God, I don't really feel like I'm enclosed to, you know, not being able to do anything. I know what I shouldn't be doing, but to say like I can't do it, I still have fun. I still go to work. I still play basketball. I still do the things that are fun to me, and these things don't come in conflict with what God is telling me to do. I don't look at me following God as in, okay, I'm here, I'll just do whatever, I'll just chill, and one day, you know, I'll be able to go to heaven. I don't look at it as like that, because I look at it as God gave me this life,
but
so I'm still gonna live it.
But
Even
you're still
if I have
thinking
to
like
live by what He's saying, I'm still gonna live my life.
But you're still thinking about it in terms of what you're supposed to be doing, and not just like you deciding what you're supposed to be doing. You're trying to look at some external source to go, hold on, tell me what I'm supposed to be doing, when you could be like deciding nobody can tell you what you're supposed to be doing other than you. And if somebody takes that away from you, I think that is losing a lot.
So you feel as if like if I'm going out there and I'm doing something and you think like God taking that away from me, like I'm losing purpose in life?
Yeah, I mean, not just purpose, but like
something for God, I'm losing purpose in life.
You're allowing somebody else to prescribe you what they think your purpose is supposed to be, and convincing you, and you're saying, yes, that is what I'm supposed to, instead of you deciding what your purpose is supposed to be and not being manipulated by all of these people. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but not the only reason. I put my trust into God because multiple times throughout the Bible, you see people going through things and God ends up, they end up making it in the end. But one of the biggest Bible verses that stick out to me is Jeremiah 29:11. And it tells me that God won't lead me to a path for destruction, but to future and hope. So as long as I keep living by that, I know for a fact that like I'm going to have future and hope. Regardless if it comes now, regardless if it comes later, one day I will have future and hope. Even if it's not here on earth, like I'll have future and hope. And even in Romans 8:31, it tells me that if God is for me, no one could be against me. So these Bible verses mean something to me. They stick out to me, and I carry them with me throughout the day, and I carry them with me throughout life, because even if, and like I said, in the end, if people think that there's no one there, okay, you're right, I'm wrong. But if there is somebody there, I'm still not going to look at it as I was right, you're wrong. I'm going to look at it as I'm here in heaven, I'm here with God. That's all I'm going to be worried about. I'm not going to worry about who didn't listen to me. I'm not going to be worried about who didn't take what I didn't tell them. I'm not going to be worried about none of that. I'm going to be worried about I'm here with God now. And I'm happy right where I'm at. This life that I chose to live, I'm happy where I'm at. And if in the end I'm not happy with this, then I'll choose to do something different. But as of right now, I'm happy and I'm content and I'm at peace with where I'm at. And I definitely feel like that peace was given to me by God, by me listening to Him and letting Him direct me.
All right, man. Hey, you got to do you, man. That's all. I'm trying to help people in my own way too. I'm trying to help People allow themselves to see that they, first of all, aren't broken, and that you do deserve to have a happy life, irrespective of anything you may or may not have done in the past. You don't need forgiveness, and you could just live life and be happy. But I see what you're saying too, man. And I'm not, not trying to take anything away from you, but I know that when I decided to finally, when I realized that I was just kind of living life doing what somebody else thought I was supposed to be doing, and I snapped out of it, it opened up an entire world of like, oh my gosh, I can actually choose what I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't have to feel guilty for thinking thoughts and feeling lustful when that's something that, like, the Creator designed us to do. Like, what it is. How do you feel bad for lust? That's like, what? Didn't God make us to lust? And you're going to feel guilt over it?
I think when people talk about lust, they look at it as like I'm just doing this with another girl. I don't really mean nothing. But a lot of people, they tend to gain soul ties. They tend to get attached to that person. They tend to rely on that person more than they rely on anybody else. And sometimes they love that person more than they love themselves. So God telling us to wait till marriage to have sex isn't him taking that away from us. It's him letting us know that we should be able to have one person for sure that we know is never going to leave us. We're married to, we're here, we're committed, we have a family, and that's just that.
And what?
Well, that seems
go ahead.
strange to me.
Sorry.
Like, if you want to make sure the marriage is going to work, shouldn't you make sure you're sexually compatible before you get married?
What do you mean by that?
Like, if you wait until after you're married, you go off on your honeymoon or the wedding night or whatever, and you find out that you just don't work together in that way.
Yeah. If someone's asked me that before, and as me as who's a believer, like I said, Jeremiah 29:11, God's never going to lead me to destruction, but future and hope. But also, God is never going to bring somebody into my life that isn't for me. Simple as that.
So if you did meet a special someone, waited till you got married, went off, did the honeymoon thing, and you weren't compatible, that would be a direct contradiction of that belief. But now it's just, you're already married.
Then you're going to blame yourself for that.
I definitely see what you're saying. It definitely could be a major contradiction for sure, 100%. But
hey, Maya.
I don't know. In my eyes, personally, have I like, as I've been starting to follow God before, the friends I had, and I mean, you could always say, yeah, this is my fault because I decided, but the friends I had before weren't leading me to do good things. They were leading me to, influencing me to do bad things. And they weren't peer pressuring me, nothing. It's just, I saw them do it and I was like, I'm going to go and do it. But since I've been following God, I have people surrounded by me who's actually bringing me closer to him. We can have conversations about him, and we don't even only just talk about him. Our friendship isn't just directed by him, but we can do anything together. We go chill, play basketball, do whatever. Like, we can still live life normally, but we know at the end of the day we're both believers and that we can, do things together that, God wants us to do. And since that's happened, I haven't really met anybody who's done wrong by me or, done anything that I would see to be weird or to be bad or anything like that. So I just don't believe that if God would bring friends into my life who are good for me, I don't think that he would bring a wife into my life who's bad for me. Because friends aren't, in the Bible doesn't really tell us that we have friends. It tells us we have brothers and sisters. So all the people that I have around me, I look at them as brothers and sisters. They're very close, they're very cool. I can go to them about anything. They can come to me about anything. So I don't think God would do any different when it came to my wife, personally.
Dude,
well, I mean, ultimately it's your choice and of course your partners, and that's great for you. Some people choose to wait even if they're not believers in anything, and that's fine for them. But when you go around saying, like, I think this is how it should be, even if you don't mean it that way, people are still going to take it to be a signal of support that there should be a law that people shouldn't be allowed to get married or have sex until after marriage.
Yeah, of course. And like I said, that's like one big thing about spreading the gospel. A lot of people are gonna, disagree with what you're saying, but me, like, when I tell somebody, oh, well, I'm not going to have sex till marriage. That isn't me telling them that's what they have to do. But if they ask me, what is it like, what is the right way to go about it, I'm going to tell them, well, this is what God says. And if they don't agree with that, then, I mean,
didn't King David have like 600 wives?
You said what?
King David had like 600 wives.
I don't think it was David. I think it was somebody else. But yeah, there was somebody with 600 wives. I think it was Solomon.
No, Solomon had a bunch too. Yeah.
I think it was King Solomon, like 600 wives. Yeah, for sure.
He was horrible, but he was a sinner. Like he was. Oh my goodness.
And what's crazy about you saying he had 600 wives? Solomon actually, like, his death was like not caused by lust, but his death was like influenced by lust. Like because of how much lust he had, it led to the cause of his death.
His dick fell off.
I mean, he got into trouble because he violated the first commandment. He was letting other religions set up temples right in Jerusalem.
Exactly. So
That's
like I said,
evil.
Me telling you I'm not gonna have sex till marriage. Well, I already have, but me saying that as of right now I wouldn't have sex again until marriage isn't me telling you that's what you have to do. But I know that's what the Bible says. So
hold on, what? Wait, you already did it though. It's too late.
This is before I fully, dedicated my life to Christ. And like we know, when we ask for repentance, those sins are washed away. So yes, I know that I did this, but He doesn't care about that no more. He forgot about that. That's washed away. That's not going to be remembered anymore. That's why every Christian has a testimony. That's the whole point. We lived a life of the world before we met Christ.
Yeah, I get that. People can change. I mean, I myself
so manipulative,
extremely promiscuous, and it's just not for me. I'm not going to tell anybody else don't do that.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell nobody what to do with their life, but if they ask me if it's right or wrong, I'm going to definitely say, yeah, well, by what the Bible says, this is wrong. Yeah.
I mean, to me, it feels like a manipulation.
But I mean, obviously,
it's right. I mean, to me, it feels like just a manipulation. It's getting you to feel guilt over stuff that's so insane, so that they can sell you the cure for the guilt that they caused. So that you keep going back.
any man could be lust. Any sin that's in the Bible, you can beat it. Promise you.
Yeah, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like you're feeling guilt.
Yeah, the whole point of feeling bad and everything. Yeah, I get that. But if we had no conviction, if we wasn't convicted by the Holy Spirit, then how will we know when we're doing right or wrong? We just read the Bible, say, okay, well, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Okay, yeah, okay, so I'm gonna do that, and then I end up doing it, and I don't feel bad for it. Then what's the point?
I mean, but you would feel bad for things that are like that you would that actually would be bad, right? Like if you hurt somebody, I would hope you would feel bad, right? Like if you hit somebody, or even let's say in the vein of like sexual immorality, right? If you slept with a girl and then she woke up the next day and you were gone and you didn't say shit, you just bolted, I would hope you would feel bad about that. That's shitty behavior, right? But if you just are feeling lust towards somebody, or even like in love with somebody, and say you you succumb, you sleep together, whatever, and then you feel guilty about sleeping together, and then you're like, oh man, God doesn't like that we did that. Now we got to go to church and ask forgiveness, and you see what I mean? They're giving you guilt so that they can sell you a cure to the guilt that they caused. It's addiction. It's like nicotine. It causes you to feel a deficit that you then cure by more of the drug. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And as somebody who's just had sex with women that I haven't been with, and even as I don't know if I can say something, but I've been a minor.
Oh shit!
With a person that was over age, so it was like. And that was the first time I ever did, and it was consensual. But that was my first time ever doing anything. And after doing that at the age of 14, and she was 18, like I was driven, and I would keep going, and it's like at the end of the day, that wasn't doing anything for me. It was okay, this feel good in the moment, cool, we lay together, whatever. I'm gone now. Right. That's how I used to be, and I could openly say that because it was wrong, but that's the person I was. I'm not gonna lie about who I was. That's what I used to do. I be with a girl, cool, we do this. I just go on. I just keep living my life. Most of the time, cheat on her, talk to other girls. Like, that's the person who I was. And what was that benefiting me in the end?
Well, I mean, betraying... Well, first of all, hold on 1 second. Helping MAGA deconstruct. Thank you so much for the $2. Holy shit, that's awesome. I really appreciate that with the super chat. That is so cool. Appreciate you. You're a new viewer too. Thank you for bringing it up. Usually I just make fun of videos and stuff. So, but yeah. But thanks for hanging out. No, but as far as like what you're saying is, I like betraying somebody's trust is wrong. Why? Because it's hurtful to somebody. Somebody gets hurt, right? But if you're just having sex and let's say you just go, okay, hey, it didn't work out. Let's go. I'm going to leave. You're going to leave. We're going to go have sex with other people. That's not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not hurting anybody. You both agree. But like religion says you should feel bad for that. And why? So that they can manipulate you emotionally so that you can go back to them and seek the cure for the shame that they provided you. And then you get the shame removed by the blood magic of the cross. And then they got you coming back over and over. And you got to give 10% of your money. So there's even a financial gain for them.
Yeah.
It's manipulation.
I see that you mentioned the church. I see that you mentioned the church, and it's really funny that a lot of people talk about the church because the Bible. Well, you gotta go there. You gotta go that deep. But church isn't the building; it's the people. Let's just say for emphasis, all three of us. Y'all two don't believe in God, but me, myself, I believe in God. Now, let's say I'm the pastor and both of y'all just work for the church, right?
Mm-hmm.
We go into the church. We're supposed to make the building the sanctuary place. The church doesn't just become sanctuary just because it's there. We're supposed to make the church sanctuary. So we have two non-believers, and then we got one believer that's the pastor. How are we supposed to help other people believe if I already have two non-believers working for me? The church isn't the building. The church is the people within inside the building. The people are supposed to make the building sanctuary. And to go back to the whole thing about lust, the Bible telling us certain things not to do isn't just because God is trying to, like I said, revoke it from us. He's not just trying to take it from us. It's just for us to understand that some things that he's genuinely just saving us from. Our parents specifically tell us not to do certain things, and we might look at it as, well, this is stupid. I should be able to do this, but they're saving us from more than what we can actually see. Stuff that we might not even know. Sometimes a lot of parents don't let younger kids have social media until they get to a certain age because younger kids are what? They're easily influenced by what they see online. And their parents don't want them to be influenced by all these different things when they're trying to build them up to be a certain person. And some people consider it as being wrong, and some people consider it as, well, there's nothing wrong with that.
But,
so it's just all about how you look at it.
I mean, okay, so but what is wrong with having a relationship with somebody and then ending it prior to marriage?
What do you mean?
Like having lusting after somebody, having sexual intercourse, and then both agreeing, hey, that was really fun and all, but let's go our separate ways. What is wrong about that? Other than
that before. I feel like that could hurt definitely, like especially if two people can definitely agree to have sex, 100%. Yeah. And you could say, oh, well, some people are, a little more tenderhearted or some people are more toughness, but some people, when it's their first time doing it, like I said, even me, I clung on to that person. I clinged on to them. I went to them for everything. And she was grown, like she was legally an adult. She was in college. I was a freshman in high school. So when I find out that she was like, let's go our separate ways, that hurt me because I confided in her. I went to her for everything, literally everything. Everything. And some people do that when that's their first time doing it. Or sometimes it don't even have to be their first time. Some people do it with somebody and they're like, yo, this felt really good. I love you. I care about you so much. But then sometimes you also got to look at it. Some relationships aren't driven by love. They're driven by lust. Some people are only with some people because what they can do for them sexually, not what they can actually do for them in general. Love and lust look the same.
Okay. I don't know about that. I mean, maybe they can to a teenager when you're overcome with horniness and whatnot. But
even as adults, love and lust can definitely look the same. Someone that has lust and someone that can love both can tell you that I love you. But just because somebody tells you something doesn't really truly mean it. And just because somebody does something doesn't mean that they have good intentions behind it. Just because somebody with lust gives you flowers doesn't mean that they're doing this because they love you. They're doing this because they're trying to make you think that they love you so that they can get what they want sexually. And somebody with love could be doing that because they genuinely love you and they want to see you happy. Love and lust could look the same in multiple different ways.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm glad you said that. I was going to talk about, like, I was in a similar boat. I was a freshman in high school, and I got taken advantage of by a person who was over 18, and it took me a very long time to figure out that that was fucked up. That was not cool. But here's the thing. Do you believe that God put that person in your path? Like, you're surrounded by people who are good by you now, and that's great. I'm happy for you. But like you were just saying, a person can give you flowers and still hurt you. You know,
100%.
Like, did God not put that person in your life?
I definitely feel like as if God puts. I don't know how to really word this. I definitely see the point you're trying to make, and it's definitely a valid point. And I'm not going against your point, but this might sound bad to you, but sometimes God will put obstacles or people or things that he knows that you truly are addicted to. He will put that in front of you to see if you'll fall into it or if you'll be able to say, you know what, this isn't for me. And sometimes it might take us time to figure out if it's for us or not. Like, sometimes we'll be like, okay, well, this girl, she isn't really showing me anything to say, like, you know, this is the type of person she is. But sometimes it might just take a month or maybe 2 months or maybe 3 months to realize that this isn't the person that you should be around. And this could even go for if you're spiritually or even not spiritual. You can have standards set for yourself, and somebody could meet those standards the first time you meet them. You find interest in them, you start talking to them, you like them, then you love them. And you find out this isn't the person for them because they end up becoming the person that they truly are. Some people are so good at putting on a cover and putting on a mask that can make you believe that this is the person that they are, but it's really not. And sometimes God will put these things in our face to see if we fall into it, if we'll be able to move away from it. Like me, I was a person who smoked a lot. I was very addicted to smoking. And when I started following God, I started to realize I'm more and more around these people who smoke and do all these things. And I found myself kept falling back into that temptation.
Well, like nicotine?
But when I started to remove these people away from my life and I started to step away from them, not to say that they were doing anything wrong, but to say I didn't want to do these things anymore, so I want to step away from it. I stepped away from it and the temptation came less. I was putting myself around the temptation to make me fall into it. Most of the time, we can't beat temptation by ourselves. That's why we have to ask God for the strength to be able to beat it. So sometimes God will put these obstacles in our way just to see if we'll fall into it or not fall into it.
Are you talking about weed or are you talking about like cigarettes?
Weed and vapes.
Oh, okay. Well, vapes are bad, but weed not so much. I mean, I don't know. Like this is where I get into like, cause like the question I kind of had to initially, because you're saying you keep on saying things are like bad because like God doesn't like them or whatever, but it almost feels and hear me out. It almost feels like you just think that you had a negative experience with things, and then you're like, that's bad. And then you're going, and God didn't want me to do that. And it's like, it's just you deciding that you didn't want to do it, but you're like, for whatever reason, like putting it on God to like say that does that motivate you more not to do stuff or something?
No, I stopped smoking before I even met God.
Okay.
Yeah, I stopped smoking before because smoking just wasn't good for me in general. I mean, even if people think weed is good or bad, it's still smoke going to your lungs. So, I mean, in my opinion, it's still not good either way.
No, I mean, breathing anything in that isn't fucking air is not good. Right.
Right, but I mean, this is like firsthand. This is you genuinely inhaling it into your lungs. Like, there's something else in the air. Like, you'll be doing that. Sometimes you even do it on accidental. Or sometimes you just have to bear with it in that moment. But this is something, weed is something you would want to do. Like, and this wasn't like a once a week type of thing. This was, it felt like I couldn't go a day without doing it.
Okay, so you had something that you didn't like about yourself that you were doing, and you were like, man, I need to change this. I don't like that I'm doing this.
Yes.
And you felt like God helped you stop.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. All right. Yeah. But then you also feel like having lustful thoughts is in the same vein. With I understand if you're harming yourself with like drugs and alcohol, yeah, totally, that's bad, and and you should want to get help and get better and everything. But like feeling lust and stuff, that's super normal, man. Like
Yeah, that's
it's
what I was trying
okay.
to tell you. Like, lust isn't. There's two ways that lust are described in the Bible, and one of them isn't even described as lust; it's described as adultery. And adultery is if you look at a woman and the first thing you realize is something sexual about her, that's considered adultery. That's not considered lust anymore. Lust is the action of you actually having sex or you doing anything within a sexual orientation. And like you said, having sexual drives and wanting to have sex is normal, and that is normal. Me wanting to have sex is normal. That's not a sin. That's not a sin. There's no sin in that because I'm a human, and that's what I'm going to want. But if I want to have sex and then I go out and do it, then I committed a sin. It's not me wanting to have sex.
But
I bet there's any Christian out there who wants to have sex.
But Jesus said,
it's a normal human feeling.
But Jesus said, if you lust after a woman, then you have committed adultery. That it's evil to commit to lust after a woman. He said it's equal to cheating on someone.
I'm just thinking about how I want to have sex. It could literally be with anybody. It could even be with someone that on websites I shouldn't even be thinking about. But
yeah,
just
that's manipulative.
I don't know how to really say this. Just me thinking of the most of the time when I'm sexually driven, I think about before when I had sex. I don't really think about me having sex with anybody else because I don't really view anybody else like that. But
okay,
when I have my sexual drives, I think about people I did it with before. Now people who haven't done it at all, I don't know what they think about. But the thought of having
they think about a lot of stuff. Stuff you can't even imagine.
You see where Jesus says like driving after a woman because of lust. Like you would physically, literally have to be on the phone with a girl or trying to get with a girl just because you have intentions of having sex with her.
But that's not what Jesus said. Jesus said, if you lust after a woman, then you have committed adultery. That's the words of Jesus.
So what do you think lusting after a woman means?
Like thinking of a woman in a way that's sexual. In a way that goes, oh man, wow, she is. Boy, I would like to. There it is. It would be super fun if that butt looks like a peach. I want to. There it is. That.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
No, I mean, is that not what you think about?
Yeah, that definitely is adultery. That's what I was explaining earlier. That definitely is adultery.
So it's adultery just to lust, which is a natural thing. And see, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like that's the manipulation part. They get you by saying this natural thing you should feel bad about, and then come to us and we'll cure it. We'll cure the bad feeling that we caused, that we told you to feel bad about a natural thing that literally everybody does. But we're going to make you feel bad about it. But we got the cure. It's okay. We got the cure for the bad feeling that we caused. We got forgiveness. All you got to do is ask forgiveness from Jesus, and then we're going to keep you in this never-ending loop of addiction to this religion. But
I also think when you're talking about just, I committed sin. Okay, yeah, cool. I committed sin. I'm going to just go back to God and repent. God is all loving. 100%. And he has a lot of grace and he has a lot of forgiveness for everybody. But I think what you also have to understand is just because he has this doesn't mean you should abuse it.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Because even if your parents could forgive you every single time you did something wrong, that doesn't mean, they're going to forgive me anyway, so let me just go ahead and do this. If that's the reason on why you believe you should be able to go out there and do what you want to do and not live by what the Bible says, then you're not following the Bible correctly anyway. And the craziest thing about every sin that's in the Bible, it tells us to put on our armor and our shield and fight with God. But the funniest thing is lust is the only sin in the Bible that the Bible tells us to run away from.
Right.
Because it's probably probably one of the most easiest things to fall into. It's, especially nowadays, it's probably one of the most easiest things to fall into. Now, I don't know if y'all know anybody that's, sexually driven, but as someone who's been around people who's been to college, or even sometimes a little people who's older, lust is probably one of the most common sins probably committed on the regular. And I see what you're saying, the whole thing about manipulation and everything. But I mean, shoot, I can't really tell you too much. Like I said, I'm still learning. I'm still reading the Bible more. I'm still trying to get a better understanding of a lot of different things. So when it comes to that, I can't really speak too much on it, but I could definitely say, like,
yeah,
I have thoughts. So
that's fair. And let me just, we gotta end. I gotta go, but like, let me just end with this. Like, just think about how much you open yourself up to manipulation from anybody else when you say, I'm going to live by a book, that if anybody shows up and they can convince you that they know that book better than you, now you got to do what they say. Think about how open you are to manipulation. Now, you don't have to debate with that. You don't have to. I'm just saying, just log that away as something to think about. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And I don't, you've been really cool, man. Like, I've actually
it was great
really,
talking to y'all,
yeah,
it was great talking to y'all.
I've really enjoyed the conversation. It's been super cool. I'm surprised, given how kind of like hard we kind of hammered at it at the beginning, and you were super chill. So I really appreciate that.
But I hope you guys have a good rest of y'all night, though.
All right, man. You too.
I hope things make more sense for you in the future.
Thank you very much.
Oh, all right, man. You take it easy, all right? All right. And hey, Amber, thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. This was
absolutely. These things are always fun,
right? Yeah, I'm gonna do this more. I think I'm gonna do this once a week because I really enjoyed this. It's sort of I was nervous about it. I'm gonna be honest. I had a couple beers because I was a little nervous about like how this all would go. But yeah, it ended up being cool. And so yeah, this is great. But thanks again.
No, you handled it perfectly. Like, you understand. First you get chill with the people. You recognize everybody's human, and it's okay. We're gonna disagree. That's what we're here for. And then people tend to be more chill. Like, they might get feisty about an interpretation of a passage or something, but they're not gonna like call for your death.
Right. Yeah, and that honestly, that was very similar to like how it was. It was super chill. Wow. Yeah, that was great. I enjoyed it a lot. But and thanks for coming on and hanging out and talk. I always love talking to you, Amber. We always have fun.
Hell yeah! I mean, I got kind of feisty too, but
You did.
That's half the fun.
How you feeling? You feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. A little hungry, honestly. I've got transpositions in a little while. I got to go feed myself.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel it. Yeah, we should, everybody should go watch. Is it live tonight, or is it, are you just recording?
My segment is pre-recorded, but the show itself is live. Like, we do a panel with the four of us for the first hour-ish, cover some current news stories. Then there's my segment, Good News, that I pre-produce because I can't always make the lives. And then if Stephanie has a segment, she'll do hers live. And then Carly's, sometimes it's live, sometimes it's not. You never know with Carly. It's a surprise. And then there's the wrap-up at the end.
Hell yeah. No, that's awesome. It is an amazing show. I honestly really, really enjoy it. But hell yeah. So, all right, everybody. Well, hey, thank everybody for hanging out. This is super fun. And, hey, the main thing is to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we will see you next time. Take it easy, y'all.
Bye, folks.